Good afternoon, my name is Diane Mawson and today I'll be presenting the results of our data science project on cost transparency in prescription drugs. Our aim was to investigate both the launch price of new drugs and the subsequent increases in their wholesale acquisition costs in 2019 and 2020. This analysis is critical because rising prescription costs impact healthcare affordability and policy decision making. Here, we're looking at the number of drugs introduced between 2019 and 2020. As we can see on the line chart, using a slicer, between April and late June, so the second quarter of 2020, there were 4 peaks of over 100 drugs introduced on those days. So the 9th of June, the 26th of May, the 5th of May, and the 23rd of April. This could indicate regulatory fast track and pushes due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which offered an essentialness and initiatives to fast track approval for drugs. Over 440 drugs were introduced by 93 different manufacturers in this dataset, but were unevenly distributed in the market. Next, we assessed the wholesale acquisition cost at drug launch. Shown on this bar chart, you'll notice here an extreme disparity between manufacturers. While the median cost was around over $2,000, we still have a drag out of a number of companies which invested a significant amount over that. So we see Regal Pharmaceuticals over $39,000 median wholesale acquisition cost. Gilead Sciences and over $31,000 median WAC cost. And then what we have here is the WAC difference and WAC ratio, an average of WAC ratio, which tells us about its affordability and how it's being priced in the market. We have a 5% average increase in the wholesale acquisition costs year on year, and our mean wholesale acquisition cost at introduction was over $17,000. This matrix identifies high-risk drugs, those with extreme increases in WAC since introduction. So what we can see here is I'm categorizing this based on its wholesale acquisition cost. From that, using a technique of conditional formatting to highlight and isolate this period based on what its band category is. So we have if it's a high risk drug, so that refers to its pricing, and in general we have another pricing scale which looks at how its growth has occurred, its acquisition cost, and what it's been charged to the consumer. So we have categorizing based on dates from June 1st, 2019, so January 1st, 2019 to December 31st, 2020. And right now we have selected extreme increases. We can go back here, look at high growth, moderate increases, and stable increases. We have identified 21 high-risk drugs for their pricing strategies, and we have an overall volatility score of over 368. And this shows that there is an inconsistent pricing of these drugs compared to their wholesale acquisition costs. our insights dashboard. So what are we getting here from this? And this project identified our 21 high-risk drugs that exhibit extreme pricing behavior, as evidenced by disproportionately high WAC increases and a WAC to introduction ratio on average to WAC ratios across all drugs was 6, indicating that many prescription medications are now priced at 6 times their original cost. One notable standout was Lexicon Pharmaceuticals for standing out as a significant outlier with a wholesale acquisition cost at introduction of over $2 million, far exceeding the range of observed across the manufacturers. While certain high-cost drugs may be justified by complex development processes, rare disease targeting, or advanced biologics, such substantial price point demands closer scrutiny. The presence of such outliers not only skews the average cost metrics, but raises questions about pricing transparency, value-based justification, and the potential burden on healthcare systems. In analysis like these, outliers such as Lexicon highlight the urgent need for a standardized framework to assess whether extreme pricing correlates with clinical benefit or simply reflects an unregulated market leverage. We also have manufacturers such as Takeda Pharmaceuticals and Chesai USA demonstrating a WAC increase of over 500%, contributing to the overall volatility observed in the dataset. However, not all companies follow this trend. Firms like Bosch and Lom, and also AMEG Pharmaceuticals displayed stable or even decreasing pricing strategies, which could suggest and be used as a reference baseline and benchmarks for ethical cost control. The calculated volatility score of 368.868 highlights how inconsistent pricing strategies are across the pharmaceutical landscapes. And again, what we've done here is create key insights looking at average annual growth, the average WAC ratio, and the sum of WAC difference. So how much cost was added on after the wholesale acquisition costs at the introduction, and what we can see here is a significant increase with the WAC difference, suggesting that upon introduction to the market, these drugs will scale in their pricing strategies, which is not beneficial to the the healthcare system, or the US consumers buying these drugs, and this suggests price gouging within the pharmaceutical industry between 2019 and 2020.